Can you explain to the audience everything they need to know about Joseph?
Man, you know, Joseph is more of a personal piece for me. When I was incarcerated, man, I read the story of Joseph in the Bible in Genesis chapter 37 through 50. And when I read it, man, I saw so much similarities in my life. Joseph was lied on, he was betrayed, he was hated on, you know, he was sold into slavery, he was put in prison, you know. But through it all, man, he kept his faith in God. You know what I'm saying? He never did stir to the left or to the right. He kept his eyes on God, you know. And when he went through his situation, man, and, you know, after he came out of it, he basically was like, the devil meant it for bad and God meant it for good. He sent me ahead of y'all to save y'all life, you know. So I saw similarities in my life. You know, a lot of people be saying, man, you know, why you always smiling and you go through so much? Or why you always, you know, on a positive tip when people be seeming like they so negative against you, you know what I'm saying? It's because my relationship with God, you know, I know that the favor on my life comes from God. I know that when you're doing the right things, you're gonna suffer from doing right. I know that the devil meaning it for bad and God meaning it for good. You know what I'm saying? So when you know that, man, you just walking on assignment and you waiting on, you know, the big way where God gonna deliver you into what you went through all that in the beginning for. You feel me? So that's what my take on this whole movement of Joseph, man. And a lot of people they see themselves in the whole display of how I displayed it to the world, you know. People hit me up and they cry, like, man, I'm Joseph too. I can relate to that too. You know what I'm saying? So it's more spiritual than anything.
Now, let's sidestep for a second just on that topic there. Do you follow a religion by any chance at this point?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ. You know, I read the Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth. That's where I was brought up from, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, my personal relationship with God, man, like a lot of people, you know, follow religion. I follow spirituality. You know, I don't believe that you have to go to church and find God. I believe that God is in your heart. The way you treat people, you know what I'm saying? The way you love people, you know what I'm talking about? God is love. So if you walking around in love and you displaying all the fruits of God's, you know what I'm saying, characteristics, then you God fearing, and you know what I'm saying, I know that God lives in you. I don't too much get into religion. You know, I feel like religion just is a set of rules that man made and you know what I'm saying, used it for their benefit.
Now, prior to this line of thinking that you have now and your outlook and things of that nature, how were you raised exactly? Was it more spiritual or was it under a religion and a set of rules as you described?
Well, coming from a Christian household, my mother always told me about Jesus. You know, my mama always went to church with the next door neighbor. Um, I always see my mama praying, reading her Bible, and you know, had to say our grace at the table. You know, what I'm talking about. I was brought up that way, so it wasn't no religion. It just was a way of life. You know what I'm saying? You had to have a relationship with God after having a praying mama and seeing your mama display these attributes, you know what I'm saying? It's like, how can you not be from that in your adult life as you walk through life, know that this is the only way to overcome things in this world, you know what I'm saying? So it was easy for me, though I strayed away as I was getting old and going through my experiences in life, you know, fighting drugs, the demons, you know what I'm saying, peer pressure and all these things. I had to basically go back to where I came from in order to get myself together. You know what I'm saying? I feel we all at once upon a time go through the same transition.
Now, you mentioned incarceration here. And sometimes when people are incarcerated, they will explore other religions and values from others and things of that nature that they're surrounded by. Did you take a second to explore other facets and other lines of thinking before you honed in back into the Bible and things of that nature, or you just were honed in on the Bible
I'm
during that time?
my relationship with God, you know, have always been solid. But when you have other religions and you hear other conversations, I'm a man of information. You know what I'm saying? I love to, learn new things. So I'm never closing my ear to knowledge. So when you hear people talking about different religions and different, walks of life, I'm always open for that, but I'm looking for that common factor that we all supposed to walk no matter what your religion may be, and that's love, because God is love. We all have that one thing in common. So when you're not doing that, and I see you just trying to be smarter than the next guy just with the knowledge that you know, then I feel like you're not a part of what you're saying you is, you know what I'm saying? So I learned how to, basically look at the spirit of every individual and could tell if their relationship is solid or not.
And was there any sort of, for lack of a better phrase, peer pressure while you were incarcerated to explore other religions or be a part of other factions and things of that nature in
Nah,
that realm?
it never was any kind of peer pressure, no force. I have to be this way. I have to believe in this, you know what I'm saying? In prison, man, it's about respect, and you hear all the things that go on and this, that, you know what I'm saying? That be a whole bunch of bullshit, you know what I'm talking about? If you carry yourself in a respectable way, man, you're gonna be safe, you're gonna make it through there. The way how you is, the way how it gonna be, you know what I'm saying? And that's how it was for me. People saw me, one of my sellers was Muslim, you know what I'm saying? And I was Christian, Christ believer, you feel me? But when you listen to what they saying, it's kind of similar, and everybody believe a little bit of the same way, you know what I'm saying? But it, to me, some of the things that I believe, it kind of like override a lot of other, beliefs. To me, that's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That's the cheapest commodity in the world. You know what I'm saying? That's why we all got it. But I believe that, the way how my relationship is with God, man, like He not gonna mislead me, and He haven't misled me yet. You know what I'm talking about?
Now, back to the conversation of this body of work. Do you consider this project an album or a mixtape?
No, this project is an album, a masterpiece. It's something that I expected it to be, because before it came out, I told people that it was gonna be one of the best. And the reason why I know that to be true, man, is because I was going through so much. And I feel like what comes from the heart gonna always touch the heart. You know what I'm saying? From the beginning all the way to the end, 17 tracks on there. And I had a lot of people who listened to the album that really meant something in my life, that I know when they heard it, they was gonna tell me the truth. So in the whole time of me creating this project, they was there creating it with me. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't think you need to do this. I don't think you need to say it like that. You need to do it like this, and I was open-minded to other people's opinion of how this structure should be. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a team, like a lot of people try to do things on their own and say, this is how it gonna be. I didn't try that, this is how it gonna be. This time, I tried the whole operation, my whole Y&T team, my wife leading the pack, you know what I'm saying? And it all worked out, man.
And pardon the brain fog here, but have you done a mixtape before?
Yeah, all my life, since I've been home. Not my wife say stop saying all my life, but since I've been home, man, I've been dipping and dabbing, mixtaping, EPing it. I feel like this is the album that, since Young and Thuggin', which was my first solo album, so I dropped that in 2001, I believe. So 24 years later, it took me to drop another album. Young and Thuggin' was a way of life for me. Joseph is a way of life for me. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when you do an album, it need to be a way of life. And it should be a variety of different experiences in your life where people can say, damn, I can relate to that. I can relate to that experience. I can relate to that experience, to where the whole album is relatable. And that's what I gave to the people.
Now, just a little bit more insight on the title itself. Was this a title that you came up with or someone coined for you?
No, Joseph was a title that I came up with when I was in prison. Like I said, that was one of the best books of the Bible that I read, because my life was Joseph, you know what I'm saying? And I saw a vision of everything that's transpiring right now. I seen it before it happened. You know, that's why I be so calm. That's why I smile. I get mad because I'm human at times, but I know that I had to go through and I have to go through the things I'm going to get to where I need to be. And right now I have ran its course, you know what I'm saying? I'm right there to where the blessings is about to be bestowed, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people who meant bad, you know what I'm saying, they gonna have to come back in. They're gonna have to they're gonna need me to go to the next level. They're gonna need me to eat. They're gonna need me, and I'm not saying that in a cocky, arrogant way. It's just the way how God has written it. You know what I'm saying? Like he chose me for this time, bro. And just like people when I was speaking and saying I was gonna have the best album, people were like, man, whatever, whatever. Those same people who like whatever, whatever is coming back saying, you know what, man, I didn't believe you. I thought that it was gonna be some bullshit, but I have to say, you was right. So I'm walking in purpose on assignment. You know what I'm saying? It's not just any album. It's a God-fearing album that's going to change and impact the world, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is, you know what I'm saying? And only people who are people of faith gonna understand what I'm saying. And people who are not of faith, they're gonna become believers, and then the demons are gonna continue to be mad and extra mad. That's what this album is gonna do.
Now, just for clarification here, you knew you wanted to create an album titled Joseph when you were
When I
incarcerated?
was incarcerated, I knew that I was gonna create an album titled Joseph. You know, that was one of my favorite books in the Bible. You know, I didn't know when it was, but my vision, it was manifesting and I was seeing like signs and symbols is for the conscious mind. So if you got a connection with God, you're gonna know when it's time. You're gonna know when it's time. So the times might seem like it's a bad time to people who are walking in a carnal mind. But when you have that spiritual relationship, you know what I'm saying? And my walk is a spiritual connection with God. The time is going to be revealed because my mind is conscious now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not no longer on heroin and cocaine. So I can see now. You know what I'm saying? I got my backbone, my rib, my wife. You know what I'm saying? God said when you find a wife, you find a good thing and receive favor from him. So everything that I have from the relationship that God talked to me and tell me about, I already knew it was going to happen, bro. You know what I'm saying? And the world is about to see tremendous things from this project. You know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking it and I'm saying it because I'm on assignment for God. You know what I'm saying? It's God. So when it happened, people are going to give God the glory. You feel me? Not me. It's bigger than me. I'm just being a vessel, being chosen, and being obedient to the walk. That's it.
And speaking of heroin and cocaine, there was a time you were once a user of each of those substances. How were you able to quit each of them in its totality?
It was a fight. It was a battle, man. When you got that gorilla, that monkey, man, turn into a gorilla on your back, bro. Every day it's like, man, I really don't want to do this, but you don't know how to quit because it's a mental and it's a physical thing, And the only thing that can get you off of it is God. You know what I'm saying? In my life, bro, I had to get through things with nothing but God. When I was in prison, nothing but God. When I was on drugs, nothing but God. When my wife was going through her, breast cancer situation, nothing but God. Everything that I ever went through, being in the industry, signing cash money, nothing but God. You know what I'm saying? People betraying me, nothing but God. So, like everything just been spiritual, man. Like, I can't explain it, but a person that got a relationship with God, they on the other side of that camera and they like, man, this is why I have a connection to him, because it's a spiritual connection. It's not because I'm Hot Boy Turk. See, a lot of people who on the outside looking in, that's walking in the carnal mind, they might think, man, you Hot Boy Turk and you got this, you got that. Hot Boy Turk is a curse. You know what I'm saying? But Tab Virgil, the man of God, aka Joseph, is blessed. You feel me? So it took me to become Hot Boy Turk to save some of the people. It took me to become, you know, a part of that industry to save and do what I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just walking the walk, bruh, and not being a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I'm not perfect. You know, I make mistakes, you know, and they are revealed and it's transparent to the world. Some people might say, man, you talk too much. You need to be quiet. I feel like I'm at an age in my life right now where I don't have to be quiet if I'm telling the truth. Telling the truth is not hating. I got this thing, if you tell a lie on me, I'm going to tell the truth. You feel me? So it took a lot of things for that to be able to be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like for the snitching situation. At once upon a time, snitching was like it was looked down upon. You know what I'm saying? Now people snitch and they become famous. And, you know, the kids don't care about that. Snitches used to get stitches. That used to be a saying. Now snitches get riches. You feel me? So when they was able to start accepting that, if you can't accept a person walking in his truth, I used to think if a person violates you legally through music, far as if they owe you money and things, I used to think that was snitching. So you know what I'm saying? Before I file a lawsuit, before I do this, before I do that, I try to settle it out of court, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to get the jacket of being a snitch. But when they started honoring the snitches, it's like, if you violate me getting my lawyers on top of the business is the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So my walk with God have opened my mind to other ways of seeing how this life is set up. You feel me? And I'm just walking on purpose now, bro. You know what I'm saying? And nothing can stop me but me.
And pardon the brain fog here, but as outspoken as you are, and some people have seen your outspokenness, like on social media, on your Instagram, for example, and things of that nature, you posting something on your timeline, or maybe you going live on Instagram, and now they see some of your clips on YouTube and your YouTube channel. And before I ask you this next question, just in case there are some fraudulent profiles of you online, care to share your official username, screen name, handle on IG as well as YouTube as well?
My Instagram is original Hot Boy Turk. That's my official Instagram. My YouTube is original Hot Boy Turk. My Instagram is the same as my YouTube. My Twitter is Hot Boy Turk, the number 32. You know what I'm saying? And my I'm on TikTok, original Hot Boy Turk, Snapchat, you know, and everything else, man. I'm on everything that's social. And my Facebook is my government name, Tab Virgil Jr.
And care to share the Snapchat screen name as well?
Original Hot Boy Turk.
Now, as outspoken as you are, has there been any thoughts, and again, pardon the brain fog here, you can correct me if I'm wrong, has there been any thoughts on harnessing this outspokenness of yours into your own podcast or your own live streaming channel and things of that nature?
I do have my own podcast, Telling the Truth, Not Hating. When I go live, I feel like that's me letting the world into my life. You know, my podcast partner, Be High, you know, Be High ATL. You know, you can catch us on Be High ATL on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? We always doing our thing. Shout out to Wick as another podcast partner. You know what I'm saying? And I think the people who create content and not consume it are, you know what I'm saying, special individuals, bro. You know what I'm talking about? And today, in these days of time, if you're not creating content, you're lost in the sauce, like you left behind. You know what I'm saying? People might not understand who living like a dinosaur, you know what I'm saying? They might be like, you know, getting mad at me from being outspoken and talking, but then 5 minutes later, they start doing the same thing. So it's like, somebody gonna get on social media, whether you do it now or you do it later. Everybody wants to be seen at once upon a time. Everybody wants to be heard at once upon a time. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you might just beat people to it. You know, man, you was talking and, you know, I'm not gonna discuss the contents, but, you know, people always would try to, you know, do the things you do after you do it. You know what I'm talking about? People will find a way to slick hate you and be envious and jealous, and you know what I'm saying? Soon when you slip up one little time or you take one little break, you be like, damn, man, the whole time you wanted to be in my position, you know what I'm saying? So you got to stay working, bro. You got to stay at it because somebody's trying to take your spot. And that's what I do every single day since I've been home out the penitentiary for 13 years straight. It got me where I'm at now. My name's still ringing 20 years later, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing but God, man. You know, it's not no major label behind me, no major backing. Me and my wife and my team, and we just, you know, give the fans, which are my friends, always never shaded, what they want. You know what I'm saying?
Now, what about stress? Okay. For those in the audience that have seen you deal with incarceration, and you mentioned your wife's breast cancer, and for transparency, she's off camera to the side of you during this interview. You mentioned, you know, the hate that you've received from being outspoken and things of that nature. Uh, do you feel like this point in your life, though, do you feel like this is the most stressful you've ever been in your shoes, or do you think this has been the least stress that you've dealt with?
You know, when it say stress, man, I think stress is brought on you by your thoughts. You know, if you keep your thoughts on positivity, you can't stress. You know, and my wife, man, she's a firm believer of correcting what you say out of your mouth. You know, the way you think. You know, like if I didn't have her in my life, I probably would be stressed out. But I have somebody to remind me that leave that alone, get at the guard. You know what I'm saying? You always got to have somebody that knows you, that know when something is wrong. You know what I'm saying? So they could come tell you some positive, encouraging words to get you through, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and we do that with each other, you know what I'm saying? We uplift each other, we motivate each other, and we keep on working. We make love, make money, and I think that keep the stress levels down. But us human beings gonna have stress, you know what I'm saying? It's how you deal and how you react to it, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna determine how far it go and if it's gonna affect your health. And when we study that is if you stress, that's what it does. So don't nobody want to be all stressed out, man, to where, you know what I'm saying, you can't do nothing else, you know what I'm saying? So we try to keep it positive, bro, and we keep it positive.
Now, I do want to talk about the relationship of you two together a little bit further in this conversation, but I do have a relatively quick question in regards to her. When it comes to you and her relationship, is this an opposites attract sort of thing? You guys are two polar opposites of personalities, or are you guys, again, for lack of a better phrase, two peas in the same pod? You guys think a lot alike, similar to one another? How is this
I don't
relationship
think
between you two?
me and her was the same. It'll work. You know, she's a Capricorn and I'm Aquarius. We both strong-minded individuals. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, when our mind is made up on something, that's just what it is. We just find a common ground. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we have to agree to disagree. We improvise with each other a lot. You know. And we love each other. We loyal to each other, bro. So when it's like that, me and my wife have an argument every day. When I hear couples saying they don't argue, I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have two different individuals, you're gonna crash. You feel me? It's how you react and how you sustain in that relationship that matter. Like, do you really love this person? Because if you love this person, you ain't gonna keep on doing the same thing. You might do something similar, but you ain't gonna keep doing the same thing. That's insanity. Like, that ain't gonna never change. But we didn't have, you know, clashes. We were fussing before we got here. We fuss every day, you know what I'm saying? But we love each other more every day, you know what I'm saying? And that's just, I think that's what keep us together, bro. You feel me? Like, you can't fake and make it seem like internet life, everything is all peaches and cream. That's cap.
Now back to the project at hand here. As far as the artwork for this project, can you explain to those in the audience the concept behind it, unless it's self-explanatory here?
It's self-explanatory. As you can see, Joseph was betrayed by his brothers. On the album cover, you can see his brothers trying to put him in a hole, which in the Bible story, they tried to put Joseph in a hole, you know, and they was coming up with a plan to lie to his daddy about him, saying that wild animals have killed him, but he was wind up being sold into slavery. You know what I'm saying? And mine is very symbolic to my life, bro. Like, I done been, you know, through a lot of stuff with my brothers, you know what I'm saying? a love-hate relationship, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I feel like it may be a little jealousy in there, you know what I'm saying, a little envious, you know. I have been betrayed, lied on, you know, and just left stranded. Feel like, you know what I'm saying, that sometimes it's just me. You know what I'm talking about? So I wanted to talk about this on my album. Like my album is not a diss record, but it's a dismiss. Like I'm standing up for myself now. I'm no longer being behind anybody. I'm in the front now, you know what I'm saying? And I think it rubs people the wrong way to be that way. As long as I'm saying I'm the weaker link, I think it make people comfortable. But when you have grown and you have learned how to, you know what I'm saying, live in the way who you is and walk in the truth of who you really is, it kind of irritate a lot of people's spirit, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you would think that people who you got love for, people who you loyal to, would be happy that you have arrived at that state in your mind. You know what I'm saying? That particular place in your life. But sometimes it be the people that's close to you that hate you the most. Familiarity brings on disrespect. You know what I'm saying? And that cover just is symbolic to that, not just to my brothers, but you know what I'm saying, to people in the world who, you know, we are all brothers and sisters under God. You know what I'm talking about?
Now, as far as this artwork in particular, was this something that you came up with or a graphic designer here?
Um, I think it was a boat. You know what I'm saying? Me giving a concept of, you know, where I wanted to go and what it was. Because at first they were saying, man, it's too preachy, it's too godly. I'm like, that's where I'm at in my life. It ain't too nothing. That's what I am. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get from around the people that were saying that because they didn't see the vision. And God ain't even allow it to happen because before I could even get through it, they try to sabotage the situation. You know what I'm saying? But God have a way and he got a sense of humor, bro, you know what I'm saying? And when he wants something to go forward, man, it's gonna happen no matter what. And the people who try to sabotage probably sitting back like, damn, man, I thought we got rid of that. They probably arguing and fussing with each other because they were supposed to get rid of it, but they didn't. You know what I'm saying? So it all came together, man, just from, like I say, God gave me the vision in prison. And he said, it's time. You know what I'm saying? And you got to pay attention to the signs and symbols. You got to pay attention to the things that's happening around you to know when it's time. The only way you're going to see that, you have to be conscious and you have to have that relationship with God.
And do you want to shout out the graphic designer to this artwork?
Yeah, shout out to Benji, man. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy, man. It's crazy, bro. Like, a lot of people that are on my team are fans, complete strangers. You know, I tried to work with people that I was familiar with, and it seemed like familiarity brings on disrespect. But a stranger, God say, man, you watch who you entertain. The stranger that you entertain, because it might be an angel. You know, that's how I know God is real, bro, because people who don't know me are the most loyal to people to me right now. Most solid. You know what I'm saying? And some of them be coming, and you be like, man, what you want something. It be too good to be true, bro. That's how I know it be God.
And I also want to rewind on to something you said here, and that's something to the effect of you've saved people's lives. Is this your music saving people's lives? Is this your story saving people's lives? Is this you actually physically saving someone's
I
life here?
think it's all of that you just said, you know, and the head of it is God. God worked through people, you know. So if I'm being obedient and I'm walking in assignment, God is using me as a vessel, you know what I'm saying, to do things that only humans can do in this world. You know, sometimes people be sitting back and they be waiting, saying, man, I'm waiting on my blessing, I'm waiting on my blessing, I'm waiting. But your blessing can be right in front of you, God working through you, God working through my wife, you know, God working through different people that I encountered throughout my day, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't have that relationship and you don't know how that look, you will neglect that. You know what I'm saying? You will take it for granted. You feel me? And when people are reporting back and telling me things, I just smile, bro. And me and my wife be like, man, that's nothing but God, because of our relationship with God, we know that's what it is. This album, it wasn't a shock to us of what it's doing. You know what I'm saying? When I tell you from the beginning to the end, the beginning song with CeeLo Green, he take him to church, bro. He give me that gospel CeeLo Green, and you just don't get no song from the great CeeLo Green, bro. You know what I'm saying? And the way how he came to me on this song, I was supposed to do a record with CeeLo at a video shoot with Ghetto Mafia Wicked. Him and CeeLo had a video shoot. And CeeLo had seen the controversy of what was going on with the Hot Boys reunion. And CeeLo was like, man, what's up? And I was surprised that he even knew who I was. He walked up to me. And I was a fan, you know what I'm saying? I was fanned out. But he was a fan, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, I got the perfect song for you. So I never did the song for him, but when I was working on this one song called Best Revenge, I say, man, this sound like CeeLo need to be on here. He gave me his number, so I reached back out to him. It was like nothing but God, bro. He got on the record, and not only got on the record, he sent me his whole session. So I got CeeLo vocals when he was probably messing up on certain things, and he sent me everything because he wanted it to be right, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know it wasn't nothing but God, so I'm grateful for CeeLo putting his gift on this project, bro. And I opened it up with the great CeeLo, man, and it's nothing but God all the way through. So when people is listening to it, people are going through the similarities. Just like when I looked at Joseph, I was going through the similarities. You know what I'm saying? People can relate to it, bro. And it's changing people's lives because it's either giving them convictions to do the right thing. It's either inspiring them to keep on doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? But it's making them want to do the right thing. And in order to do the right thing in this dirty world, bro, it can't be nothing but God. You feel me? Because as human nature, we want to do the wrong thing because it's hard doing right. You feel me? So when I say changing lives, God is changing lives through me, through my music, through my ministry. You know what I'm saying? And I give him all the glory for it.
Ministry, just using that word figuratively, or you literally have a ministry?
Your testimony, is your ministry. The thing that you use and do to bring people close to God is your ministry. You know what I'm saying? People might think a ministry is a church building, you know what I'm saying? But your heart, where God lives at, that's where the church is at, And doing things now in these days of times and talking about God is gonna bring more people in, because sometimes people be thinking that they got to go to church. God said, come as you are, so it ain't no church that you have to go to, you know what I'm saying? But that was what we was taught. You have to have a renewing of your mind, and the way you renew your mind with repetition of new information, you know what I'm saying? So the more you get information, the more you see God working in other people who not in the church building. If you know, Jesus went outside to the sinners. He went set with the sinners. The sinners wasn't in the church, you know what I'm saying? So when you know these things, it start to make sense, you know what I'm saying? And you could change your life for the better, bro.
How many people do you think you've saved their lives?
Man, I mean, I couldn't put a number on it, but I know a lot of people come up to me and the way how they respond, and, I could say millions, bro. Now will all of them say it? Nah, because some people, is in silence. Some people suffer in silence. Some people do good in silence, you know what I'm saying? But I know that God is working. And they don't have to come to me and say, man, you did that. You can sense it, you see. You feel me? Anytime you might see somebody on YouTube who talking bad about you, negative, just, making you mad, but you over here now, and you can't do nothing but accept what's going on, but it's making you real mad. And then one day you get up and you see this person and had a change of heart. God did something. You feel me? You go to seeing the good, you go to seeing like, okay, well, that person do have some type of good in them. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they is just doing a job. Maybe they think that's the only way they could do it if I be negative. But that's not the only way. You know what I'm saying? And I think this project showing people that it's other ways other than, you know, pushing negativity to become, you know, successful.
Now, this album was released on July 27th.
Exactly.
Was there any significance behind that release date?
Nah, actually, man, I didn't even know that the Hot Boys released their album on July 27th some years ago. And I found out once my album got released July 27th that it also was anniversary of the Hot Boys release.